We're back again. Weekend beat time where we turn some of these into beautiful beats. So without further ado, this is Weekend Beat Time. Alright guys, welcome back. Another episode of Weekend Beat Time. If you're new to the channel, man, you don't know what the hell's going on, right? You're a little disorientated. What I do is every week I get together and I show you fellas how to make beats, you know what I mean? I share knowledge, I take requests, I make videos, but basically I'm making beats. A lot of it's just boom bap, a lot of it's lo-fi, and just old sample-based hip-hop music, man. That's what I do. This week I got something special, man. I am showing you guys how to create an instrumental from a beat, right? I've done this in the past, working out arrangements, but this is more about the mixing process, man. Working out arrangements, how you fellas can plan that stuff, all right? I plan on making a mix, an audio mix, a good quality audio mix, something that we can listen to, man, on our way to work or whatever it is, on our way to a gig, maybe something on the weekend, whatever it is, right? I want to create audio mixes now, man. I feel like it's about that time. I want to start making improvements on the channel, man, because you know what? It's reciprocal, man. I enjoy doing it. You know what I mean? I get out of it as well, man. So I'm aiming to do that. I'm starting to think about what beats I want to put on it. But I figured, hey, why not come along for the ride, yeah? Instead of me just making the beat and putting it up, come along for the ride, man. So this week is about me finding a beat that's minimal, but I want to kind of extend it. I want to make arrangements out of it. You know what I mean? All right. I hope you guys enjoy the video, man. And all right, peace, man. Peace, guys. Peace. Okay, guys. So here's where we're at. At the moment, I am intending on making a mix, right? About a half-hour mix containing maybe 15 to 16 tracks. For your listening pleasure, for my listening pleasure, so we could listen to it on the way to work, when we're, you know, just at home chilling, on the weekends, whatever it is, right? That's my intention. Now, what I need to do in order to put together an interesting mix, an interesting beat tape, right, is I need to take average beats, well, not average beats really, but I need to take a simple beat and I need to transform it into an instrumental. I know all of us beat makers, all of us producers are guilty of this, man, where we make a banger or we make something that is kind of interesting, we find the right sample, but then the next day we move on, we don't actually go back and continue with the samples and with that beat. So the intention of this video is for us to makeover our average beat and create it into and turn it into an instrumental with the purpose of it ending up on a mix or beat tape. Now, the way I'm gonna do it, guys, is that I'm going to create a structure. I'm going to plan a structure. I'm gonna create layers for that structure. Then I'm going to bounce it, and I'm gonna bounce it. And when I say bounce it, I mean the sequences that I create, I'm going to record it, not as audio, but as the files, right? As the sequences. Once I have those, I'm going to run through it, and I'm going to go through my bass, through my snare, through all the different bits and pieces, and I'm going to change them up a little as the song plays. So essentially, I'm going to play the part of each person in my band, and I'm going to change the loop into something a little bit more freestyle, the different parts of the song. Alright? Now if that confuses you, don't worry about it, man. I got you. Man, I got you. We're gonna go through it, we're gonna look at the structures, we're gonna go through it, man. Step by step, as always, alright? Alright. Let's move forward. So this was an instrumental. I'm gonna show you not an instrumental, this is a beat, right? I'm gonna show you the beat that I have. Now this beat is very basic. There's 6 layers on this. There's gonna be a snare, a hi-hat, a kick, some rubbish I just put in there, a bass, and there's the sample. the most basic of beats, all right? The most basic structure of beats. It is not even, I wouldn't even consider it a beat. It is a loop, all right? So this is one piece of it. That's not the beat, right? That's the sample. All right. Let me play the instrumental for you. For a little bit. You can hear that. Now, sounds good. I'm happy with it. I'm happy with the keys, but after a while, it's repetitive, right? It's not beat tape worthy. I don't want to just run it through an SP and run through the effects and do that sort of stuff. I want the SP to complement the track. I don't want it to compensate for a lack of diversity on my beat. Right? So, those are the layers. Snare, hi-hat, kick, bass. Oh, that's not bass. Sample, bass. Alright? Let's find what structure we want and then start working on this, man. Let's start transforming this thing. All right, cool, man. I'm excited, man, because I like this beat and I'm really interested in knowing how it turns out, man, and using this method. All right, let's do it. Okay, guys, so we've got, all right, we're gonna be making our track. Now, what do we usually have in our instrumental? We have something like an intro, all right? An intro. We have maybe a point where it's just a break, or our drums, right? There might be a section with the keys, there's a bit of a sort of key solo maybe. All right. Then we've got things like the verse needs to come in. We've got things like a bridge. Now, what a bridge is basically a looping pre-chorus. All right, something like that. All right. We've also got the chorus. Let's go outro. And you know what, we're gonna put here with the key solo, we're gonna consider this a point in the song where the instrumental jams a bit. All right, now check this out. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 parts to this track. All right, that's 7 parts to this instrumental. All right, I'm gonna show you guys how I like to plan my instrumentals. All right, now at its most basic, this is the structure. At its most basic, what I like to do is I like to create little cells. What these cells represent are the bars, right? So that's like 4 bars, that's 8 bars, or 16, you know what I mean? You could divide them up however you want. What I'd like to do is I like to create a timeline of the structure that I want. This is so that I don't miss anything and I can think about how the track is going to present. If I work with an artist that is really expressive and wants to experiment, then I urge him to make bridges, have solos, do that sort of stuff. If I'm working with somebody who knows how to play keys or something like that, it's nice to have the presence and the freestyling presence, man, in an instrumental, right? So you structure it differently according to the different, whoever it is that you're working with, or for yourself, whatever it is that you're trying to work with, all right? So I've got an introduction there. Then I'm going to have an introduction. It's then going to jump straight into the verse. I've decided to not make this too long because I don't want the video to drag on forever. And, it's for a beat tape. Let me just see what we can put together for this one. But you could repeat this process over and over again. So I've got an introduction. Then I'm going to bring it into a verse. Then I'm going to have a bridge. All right, something a little different. Then it's going to go into the chorus. So maybe at the bridge, the drums cut out, something like that, whatever. Then it's going to jump in the chorus, and then it's going to be an outro. All right? What I need to do is run through this, and I need to create a sequence for each one of these. I'm not going to worry about the transitions, all right? So how it's going to sound when it goes from an intro to a verse or anything like that, because we could add that afterwards. Right? That's part of the next phase. What I need to very basically do is create an intro, create a verse, create a bridge, create a chorus, and an outro, some sort of outro. All right. Now, we'll jump straight into it. Sequence number 1 needs to be an introduction. All right, let's do that. All right. So as I showed you guys before, very basic, just an introduction. I'm gonna have this running for about 4 bars. This, which is just basically me hitting my pads, right? Like this. Oh, shit, that's the wrong one. Where are we at? This one. All right. So I'm just running through some pads. So it's very basic intro. And then this will go, and then it will come in. All right, that's my instrumental. Move on to the next sequence. The next sequence is going to be my verse. How is my verse going to play? Right. Now for the verse, right, if I just go ahead and play the main sample, it's too busy. It's too busy for somebody with lyrical ability to go in there and actually perform, or if somebody's singing, for somebody to sing and to be heard. It's way too busy, right? So what I need to do is I need to create something that a person can perform on, right? What I think I should do is take this verse and basically split the loop up. So I'll have one part of this loop is going to be with a low pass filter, so all the high end is going to be off, and I'm going to create a sort of very minimal sequence, right? Me hitting the pads, find something, create something, right? That's really, really minimal. And then the second part is going to have this, the actual sequence playing in the background without the high end, right? So just a low pass. Again, I'm going to create it all low pass, but it's going to have 2 separate ones. The first verse, the first part, I'm going to have me just playing a real minimal arrangement of pads, and then I'm going to be playing the standardized beat that I have now, but with a low pass filter on it. All right. Okay. Let me create. So it's almost like I'm creating 2 different sequences for the verse. All right. Let me just make that first one. Let me make that. Okay, guys. So I have that first part of the verse, right? Which is this. It's just like this, all low pass, and I tried to keep the same sort of rhythm. I didn't go right off and change something completely. It's good to do this, to put the low pass and try to use that, because it keeps the consistency of the track. If you start using other records and stuff, it may throw off the track. It may be way too different. All right, so this is the first part, right? See, it's not too offensive. You can just play this and it's real chill, because that's how it's coming in. We're building up. See? And now we start changing it to that second part of the verse, right? To that second part of the verse. I'm going to come up with an arrangement for that second part of the verse, all right? Okay, so this is the second part. This particular set of pads has like quieter sounding pads, and then it has like ones that are a little bit more, they got a little bit more sound on them, you know, they're a little bit more busy. So I put the low pass on it a little bit more. I lowered it a little bit more to let a little less sound come through, right? And I made a separate arrangement again. If I flick to the one before it, see that? It's going to progress to the next one. One really good trick, guys, I use this often in my beats, you know, which is probably why you see this method repeating, is that I fade out. I put I leave some space in the sequence to not only play different instrumentals and have them coming up and down and all of that, but also the volume itself of the sequence. It's good if you want to break it up. I don't mean main chorus, but I meant like during the verse. If you want to break it up, have it fade out, right? See this? That's what I do. It fades out. You know what I mean? You can use less pads. So you need less rhythm, but if you fade, you can create you can occupy some of the space in the sequence by using the fade outs. You know what I mean? All right. So I have the verse done. First part of the verse, second part of the verse. Now I need to come up with the bridge. This is something to start building up my chorus. I think what I'll do is I might do something with without the snare or something like that. All right. Let me get to the bridge and come up with something. Okay, so look, man, the way it's turned out, it's probably more of a breakdown or something like that than it is a bridge, traditionally speaking. But it nonetheless breaks up. It prepares us for the chorus, right? So what I've done is I've taken the sample that I used in the introduction, which was a different sample. I think it was from the same song though, man. So a different sample, and I've rearranged that to play myself a sequence, right? And I've also taken off the kick, the snare. All right, this is what I end up with. So I'm picturing after somebody's rap, somebody comes in, maybe says a couple of things, so you know, like when you're hyping up a crowd or you're doing something like that. Maybe some thugs, you know what I mean? And then it's coming like that, it's busy, and then so maybe some cuts or something like that during this part, you know what I mean? It's a bit of a breakdown. And then the chorus will come in, you know what I mean? All right, let's move on. Let's do the chorus. The chorus is going to be simple because I already had that. That was the main beat that I had. All right, so chorus time. So for those of you who have forgotten, this is the chorus. Maybe you could put some keys on that. Maybe you can add some like a synth, you know, something like that, just over the top. You know what I mean? That's the chorus. Right. Last thing is the outro. Now guys, all I'm doing as I'm moving on is I'm just copying the sequence that I have, right? I'm just going there, just copying the sequence into the next one. So it's the same thing, but then I go through and I rearrange them and that sort of stuff, right? That's all I'm doing. Now for the outro, I've just decided to stack something on top of our original beat. Right, so I haven't gone and sampled anything, man. I'm just trying to create more with less, right? So check it out. Now what I have is the same, remember this? That was for our bridge. So what I'm doing is I'm stacking that at the tail end of the chorus, right? Like this. That's like an outro. Yeah, you know what I mean? And then it's all hype. And then as I'm finishing it, fade out like that. See it? real busy to then a breakdown, all right? All right, so I've got all the essential elements to my song, right? To my instrument. So what I'm going to do is, right, we've created all of these. I'm going to play them in sequence. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to arrange them. Now, the MPCs have a feature. This is a song feature, yeah, where I could arrange the different sequences to play. All my different sequences that I could play them one after the other. Right? Oh, sorry, if you guys are new, what I mean by the sequence is basically the file, you could say the file that plays the arrangements that I'm making out of all the different tracks, out of all the different layers. The whole thing is a sequence, all right? So I'm creating multiple ones of that. Each time I'm changing it, all right? All right. Let me go to the song mode. I'll just show you, man. Hey, you know, see the MPC. It's all good. Here we are. Old school, but all good. Now, song mode. I click on this one. You see, this thing flashes here. I go to this one. It's like the old school calculators. If you're, you know, in your 30s or over, man, you'll know what I mean. You know what a calculator is. It's not something on your phone. All right. See that? Sequence 1. Now, it's going to ask me how many times I want to repeat it. I can't remember how many times I wanted to repeat it. Let me just hear it. Yeah, that's enough. That's enough. I'm happy with it playing that much. So I'm only going to repeat. It's only going to repeat once. All right. So now, again, what I need to do is I need to go to the next one. And here I'm going to put my instrumental 2. Should I play it twice? Yes, it's going to play twice. And then again, I'm going to... sorry, this is sequence 2. It's going to be playing twice. Sequence 3 is going to be playing twice. And I'm going to continue this process where the bridge is going to play once. That's going to play once. That's going to play once. All right. I'm just going to set that song up. Okay. Now, you see this? This is my song, right? It's got all the different sequences that I'm playing and then how many times I'm going to play them. It also gives me a total count of all the different bars that I'm creating. All right? How much it all equates to. At the moment, it equates to 40. All right? So we got the sum of 40. Now, this thing allows me to just bounce it into one sequence. So I could get all those sequences there. And what it's actually doing... I've already done this now. If you have a look, it gives me one song. And it is giving me 40 bars worth, man. 40 bars, all right? So that's the whole arrangement. Now it's going to play linear, meaning it's going to play like this, like that. It's going to play that for me. Now what I'm going to do is I still got each layer, right? Each layer is still there. So what I need to do now is I need to go through and mute and change things as I need to. All right. Let me go through and show you what I mean. Okay, so I've got my introduction. Right. Let me put the volume down a little bit. Just go through the layers, and it's like, what am I gonna do with my layers, man? What am I gonna do? So I think for this introduction, just before it comes in, play a little bit of the hi-hat like this. You know what I mean? Something like that. And I could actually overdub with this thing, right? You see that? I can hit the overdub button and it's like I'm recording a new sequence. You guys, listen, man, if an old ass MPC like this can do it, your computers and the DAWs, all of that, those programs should be able to do it, man. You know, I'd be very surprised if it can't. But this is essentially what we're doing. We've got our main stuff done. We're going through and just fixing up the arrangement. I'm recording right now, right? Yeah. Alright, that's one. Now what I'm going to do as well, I'm going to maybe add a little snare on it, like this. I'm playing the role of each person who's waiting. Yeah. See that? Now when you listen to the introduction, it sounds like there's some stuff going on here. Yeah? See what I mean? Adding. Now we've hit the point of our we've hit our verse, right? The start of the verse. So what I want to do is, because it kind of just comes in, it doesn't come in nicely, right? I want it to come in nicely, man. So I might put an echo or something like that, so that it goes from that loudness and it fades into the quiet low pass that we created, right? So I've taken one of those keys from the introduction and I've put it into the verse, fading out, right? Fading out. Check it out. Should I never have to blink? Why the hell am I starting to blink? I don't want to stand me. What do I do? What do I be? Ooh, I might put that, you know what I mean? I felt like it needed that. I felt like it needed another echo running through it, right? So that's what this is all about, man. Jamming and trying to understand what is the feel that I want from this, all right? I'm going to add that echo on it, man. I feel like it needs it. And I'm going to continue this process, all right, for the verse and the bridge and the chorus and all that, man. Let's take it to... So I'll continue finding a sort of arrangement for it. And what I'll do is I'll come back just here when we go from the verse to the bridge. All right, let's work that out. So for this part where it hits the bridge, I think it's a good idea for us to mess with the bass a little bit, man. Give it a bit more of a jamming feel, right? So I'm just going to come up with a bit of a bass arrangement leading up to it. I'm going to delete the looping bass, and I'm going to play a little bit of a different bass and maybe spill it onto the bridge a little bit. I find that the transition from this to this actually sounds pretty good, drum-wise, instrumental-wise, anything like that, all right? But maybe the bass is what's going to marry it all together, all right? Let's do it. All right, lastly, guys, because I don't want this video to go on forever, and I'm sure you got the hang of it. I'm sure you understand the process that I'm going through, taking it to the chorus and taking it to the bridge and all that sort of stuff. This last little bit here, I'm just going to mess with the snare. I'm going to show you something. Let's do it together, all right? This is what I want to do here. All right, bring it back like this. So I added that snare, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the... Oh man, triplets. I think the triplets, they use them in like trap music. But I'm going to use that to create a drum roll just prior to my snare hitting. All right, it sounds good. I haven't got, it's touch sensitive, so as I go light, I can go in harder or whatever, right? So, like this. See, the bass is different. You know what I mean? Just bring it in like that, okay? Cool. Let's I'll move on, man, and then we'll do a bit of a track presentation, all right? Cool. I'll bring you back. We'll play about, it's probably gonna go up for about 2 minutes or something like that. I'll just play the beat, man, and then we'll leave it at that, all right? All right, cool, fellas. All right, guys, whatever, it's all done. There's always more work that can be done on these things, man. It's never perfect. But it's kind of like an artist. When you paint, you need to know when to stop painting before you stuff it all up. I reckon I can do a little bit more, but I think for now it's fine. You know what I mean? For demonstration purposes, I think it's fine, man. You'll find that the snares change up, the bass changes up, we've got bridges, we've got a whole bunch of different things. I'm just gonna play the sequence, guys, and yeah, see what we've got. All right, it's not perfect. It's not perfect. It can be perfect. You know what I mean? But it's good. It's on its way to being on the mix. You know what I mean? That's what we're aiming for. Remember? All right. Diverse. You know what I mean? Diverse. Yeah. Can pick you up. Oh yeah. Put it up a little bit. Sounds good. See? That's changing up. It's changing up. You know what I mean? It's changing up. If you have your lady, man, you know what I mean? You ready to dance? You know what I mean? Hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. Yeah. All right, guys. That's it for me. Thank you so much. You know what I mean? This is the chorus, you know what I mean? It's just plain. But I want everyone to take care of themselves. Thank you so much for joining in, man. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it's expanded your mind a little bit, man. Expanded your mind into thinking about your beat tapes, your mixes, how you can plan ahead, how you can perform them, how you can do your things, man. And as always, guys, peace. Take care of yourself. I'll be working on that mix, man. I'll be working on that mix, all right? Till next time, guys, stay off the crack. Be good. I'll be working on my mix. Peace. Take care of yourselves.